Vipassana is a technique which consists of sitting down, closing your eyes, and observing your breathing. Breathing must be natural, and you simply have to observe it. That is it. You do not have to do anything else. You will sit and watch your breath with your eyes closed. When you sit still and watch your breathing, after a while your body will need to move. So do not resist. Do not force the body into the same position. If you do this, your mind will start thinking even faster. It will be more difficult for you to stay aware of the breath. This is because the mind will try to protect you by making you unaware, in the sense that you are suffering. So the mind's job is to protect you. The mind protects you by making you unaware. The mind achieves this by identifying your consciousness with thought. For example, if you are sitting and meditating, the body begins to suffer because it cannot move. Your consciousness begins to identify with the suffering of the body. So you will begin to suffer. At this point, the mind will try to distract your consciousness from the suffering, taking your consciousness to a different place where you feel comfortable and forget about the suffering of the body. Obviously, the mind achieves this with thought. Then it will begin to identify your consciousness with a thought that takes you away from suffering. At this point, the observation of the breath will have been forgotten long ago. That is, the moment your consciousness identifies with the pain. When you feel uncomfortable in the position you are sitting in, slowly change it. But do not go to the other extreme by continuing to change position. When you are not comfortable, wait, observe the breath. If you see that the mind continues to get distracted, change position slowly, gently, and shift the attention from the breath to the movement of the body, which is changing the position. The shift of the attention from the breath to the movement of the body, which is changing position, is done until you can observe the breath as you change position. You actually need to be able to observe your breath as you change your position. But this takes time and a mind that does not think too fast. So, when you change your position, choose the right moment. Do not do it mechanically. Do not make the mind decide to do it. In reality, it is not the body that needs to move, but the mind that causes the body to move. In fact, the slower the mind thinks, the less you will feel the need to move your body. When you sit and observe the breath, the mind will continue to move, that is, to think. Thinking is a movement that occurs over time. Thinking takes time. Time is movement. So the mind moves and the body can only follow the mind. The body is forced to move by the mind. Mind and body are not different. They are the same. There is no division between mind and body. The mind is the non-visible part of you, while the body is the visible part. So, in the same way, if you force the body to be still, the mind will be forced not to move. That is, it has to stop thinking. This is why many Vipassana teachers and monks practice and teach not to change position while sitting in Vipassana. This is why, by forcing the body to stillness, The mind will sooner or later calm down and thought slow down to a stop. But this is just a trick, nothing more. It is true, the mind will become silent thanks to this trick, but the kind of silence it will create has nothing to do with the silence that the Buddhas speak of. The Buddhas speak of a lively, intelligent, wonderful silence. It is a silence full of silence. The silence that is achieved through tricks has nothing to do with true silence. This kind of silence makes people stupid. It is dead silence. There are many tricks to make the mind silent. The most common is do not perform any mental activities. This means do not write, do not read, do not speak, do not feed the thought with anything. If you practice this technique, your thinking will stop sooner or later. This is a technique used by Buddhists. Another technique is to stop eating. If you fast long enough, the brain will not get enough nourishment, so the thought will move more slowly, eventually stopping for shorter periods. This technique is used by Zen monks. There are sannyas who use drugs to calm the mind. Thanks to drugs, the sannyas manage not to think, but a huge price, becoming completely stupid. This technique is mainly used by Hindu sannyas. Yoga uses the head position to calm the mind. When in the head position, it means that the head supports the whole body. The head will be in the place of the feet and the feet in the place of the head. In this way, the blood will start to flow violently towards the head. In this way, the cascading flow of blood will destroy the subtle system by which thoughts are generated. There are yogis who practice the head posture for hours, and this really reduces the possibility of thinking, but at the same time it destroys the yogi's intelligence. The speaker is not saying that if you practice the head posture every day for a few minutes, you will destroy your intelligence, but excesses are not good for anything. So, these tricks to calm the mind are used by various religions to decrease the speed of thought, but they lead nowhere, only to harm your own body and mind. Those who practice Vipassana in the temple or in Vipassana center combine the observation of the breath with silence. This means that while practicing Vipassana, you will completely refrain from speaking, writing, reading, and listen to anything. Typically, this retreat ranges from a minimum of 10 days to 30 days. There are programs that can go up to 60 days. There are monks who take the vow of silence. This means they will never speak again. There are Vipassana centers which will let you enter in silence for shorter or longer periods, but which will force you to listen to religious talk for more than an hour a day. This is a very powerful conditioning system. Your mind will be deeply conditioned, because since those who take these courses aren't silent and can neither read nor speak, the only thing they will listen will be these religious speeches. So, the participants listening to the same thing every day, more or less. They will be very influenced, conditioned. They do not listen to anything else for 10 consecutive days or more. They will start thinking only what they are told during these speeches. Sooner or later, they will begin to identify with what they are being made to hear. Once they are identified, they become conditioning to this religion, with its rules and practices, so they will be psychologically in a new prison. This center has no other goal than to convert as many people as possible. The teachers of this center do not know what Vipassana is. Remaining silent is very important for the practitioner of Vipassana. The speaker does not deny this fact, but it must be total silence. You have to stay without listening or reading or writing anything. Before starting a retreat, you need to know the Vipassana technique, and that is it. Better if you can do the retreat in silence, alone, in a forest. It is not an easy thing to organize or to complete, but the experience will be worth it. Something even more useful than silence is practicing what Gautama called right speaking. This means that a person must always and in any case speak as little as possible in every situation he finds himself. It must always be telegraphic. This practice is much more difficult than silence. It is also a practice when it is done for a very long time. If you want benefit, then the speaker advises you to practice silent retreat for a period that can vary from 10 or 21 days, 2 or 3 times a year. The benefit of the retreat is that the mind will not be fed with anything for a while. So, after some time, you will be in silence for the mind. It will be more difficult to get distracted. The mind will keep repeating the same thought. The mind will have no new material to grab your attention. So staying alert and watching your breath will become easier. The more days you remain silent, the more your mind will calm down and you will be able to observe your breath for longer intervals. To be continued.